There are two types of mornings. The first kind, you wake up, drag yourself out of bed, scroll through your phone, and start your day already behind. The second kind, you wake up with clarity, discipline, and momentum. You don't chase the day, you own it. And the difference between the two? It's what you do in the first hour after you wake up. Most people don't realize this, but your morning habits silently shape your mindset, discipline, energy, and even your future. And the scariest part? Bad mornings repeat. And so do average lives. But here's the truth. One strong morning can change the way you think. And 7 simple habits, practiced consistently, can change the way you live. In this video, we'll uncover 7 powerful morning habits you must start doing if you want more clarity, power, and control in your life. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional with your thoughts, time, and energy. Let's break it down habit by habit. 1. The power of thought and the beginning of a stoic morning. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that for a second. In a world constantly shouting at you, telling you how to feel, how to act, what to want, imagine what it would feel like to block out all that noise and find real peace. Imagine mastering your own thoughts in a world that wants to control them. That's not just empowering, it's revolutionary. This isn't about trying to control the world. That's a losing game. It's about something much more powerful. Something always within your grasp. Control over your own mind. That's what Stoicism is. Not some ancient philosophy you dust off in a museum, but a practical, usable guide for life right now. It's about being resilient in chaos. Finding stillness when everything around you is noisy. It's about seeing your mornings not as a struggle, but as a sacred ritual, a launch pad into purpose, peace, and progress. If you've ever felt like life is too loud. If your mind has been heavy with stress, distractions, or even just boredom, this video is for you. If you're just curious about how ancient wisdom can arm you for modern battles, you're in the right place. Because today, we're diving into Stoic strategies that don't just help you craft a morning routine. They'll help you design a life rooted in clarity, resilience, and real happiness. So here's my ask. Give this video your full attention. Just this once. From start to finish. If you've made it this far, you're already different from the crowd. You're someone who seeks meaning. You're not here for quick dopamine hits. You're here for depth. For something real. Now, let's talk about something called Ikigai. It sounds fancy, but it's actually beautifully simple. It's a Japanese concept that means reason for being. It's where 4 things overlap: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. That's your Ikigai. Imagine waking up and feeling compelled toward your day. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Because your life is aligned with something that truly matters to you. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just some guy surviving the hardships of life with a stoic stare. He was deeply committed to the idea that we each have a role to play, that we're here to contribute, to serve something bigger than ourselves. He believed each morning was a new opportunity, a chance to live with integrity, to do meaningful work, to act with honor. Now pair that with Ikigai and you've got a powerful combo. So where do you begin? With yourself. Ask, what do I love doing? What am I naturally good at? What does the world need more of? And what can I realistically get paid to do? You don't need all the answers right now. This is a journey, not a quiz. Let these questions roll around in your mind. Revisit them. Explore different corners of your life, your interests, and your talents. And slowly, Your ikigai will begin to emerge. Now, here's why this matters. When your actions align with a deeper purpose, even mundane tasks begin to feel sacred. You stop living on autopilot, you become present. Your relationships deepen, your creativity soars, and happiness? It becomes less of a chase and more of a state of being. So, tonight, when you set your alarm, don't just think about the time. Think about why you want to wake up. What could be so compelling that you'd leap out of bed, excited to begin? This isn't about instant transformation. It's a process. A slow unfolding. A daily recommitment to living with clarity and intention. Marcus Aurelius would tell you, do the work. Do it daily. And do it with honor. Because ikigai isn't just a personal life hack. It's your contribution to the world. It's your thread in the fabric of humanity. And every morning you live in alignment with it, you're strengthening that thread. Stoics, especially Marcus, believe deeply in living with purpose. Not reacting to life, but responding with deliberate action. Not rushing from one thing to the next, but choosing each step carefully. And that starts not with the alarm clock, but with how you end your day. 2. The night before. How Stoics prepare for the morning. The truth is, your morning doesn't actually start in the morning. It starts the night before. And this is something the Stoics would have understood instinctively. Marcus Aurelius believed that living with intention wasn't reserved for heroic acts. It applied to the small, quiet moments too. Like how you spend your final hour before bed. In today's world, it's easy to lose your nights to glowing screens and endless scrolling. Binge watching until your eyes sting. Doom scrolling through news feeds that only spike your anxiety. We tell ourselves it's relaxing, but deep down we know we're stealing from tomorrow. Because how you close your day determines how you open the next one. Your brain needs space to decompress, to reset, and your body? It's craving cues that it's time to rest, time to repair. Without those cues, you're waking up already drained, even if you were in bed for 8 hours. So what does a Stoic nighttime routine look like? First, it's not about being a robot. It's not about removing all joy from your evenings. It's about introducing just enough structure to protect your peace and sharpen your focus for tomorrow. It starts with respecting your evening as much as you respect your goals. One small change: turn off your screens an hour before bed. That's not a punishment, it's a gift to your nervous system. When you pull away from digital stimulation, you're signaling to your brain, it's time to shift gears, to wind down, to go inward. Another practice: prepare for tomorrow. That might mean writing down your top 3 priorities for the day ahead, or laying out your clothes, or prepping your breakfast. Small moves, big impact. Why? Because you're setting the tone. You're eliminating friction. You're waking up not to chaos, but to clarity. The Stoic mindset is rooted in one core truth: we can't control everything, but we can control how we show up. And nothing demonstrates this more clearly than how we end our day. Try this. Before bed, sit down with a notebook and reflect briefly on your day. Not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, what went well? What could I have handled better? What did I learn? Did I act with integrity? This short reflection is more than a productivity hack. It's a practice in self-awareness, and Stoicism thrives on that. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And those imagined worries? They thrive in unexamined minds. Reflection helps you process. It helps you let go. It clears the mental fog so you can sleep peacefully. And speaking of sleep, how about adding a few minutes of deep breathing or meditation? No, it doesn't have to be some elaborate, hour-long ritual. Even 5 minutes of slow, intentional breaths can dramatically shift your nervous system. You're letting your body know you're safe. You're done for the day. It's time to rest. Think of it as a reset button. Your heart rate lowers. Your muscles release tension. Your thoughts begin to slow. And by doing this, you're not just falling asleep faster, you're setting yourself up to wake up with a calm, focused mind. In a world that feels like it never shuts off, this kind of conscious closing of the day is a radical act. Now picture this: you wake up, and there's no rush, no panic, no fumbling for your phone to check a dozen notifications. Instead, there's stillness, space, room to breathe, room to think. This is how the Stoics would want you to start your day, not by reacting to life's chaos, but by stepping into it with strength and clarity. Marcus Aurelius didn't have Twitter, but he had the Roman Senate, endless political turmoil, war, plague, and responsibility. Yet even amidst all that, he wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That kind of presence doesn't happen by accident. It's cultivated. It's earned through small, intentional acts like how you choose to close your day. So tonight, be deliberate. Build a wind-down routine that honors your future self. Trade stimulation for stillness. Swap scrolling for self-reflection. End your day in alignment with the life you want to wake up to, because every powerful morning begins with a peaceful night. 3. The first hour: claiming your morning before the world does. Picture this: it's early. The world hasn't quite woken up yet. There's no buzzing phone, no inbox screaming for your attention. Just silence, stillness. This is your hour. Before the chaos. Before the algorithms. Before the demands of everyone else. And this hour, this sacred sliver of time, can shape the rest of your day in powerful ways. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That begins with what you choose to focus on as soon as you wake. In our world today, the first thing most people do is grab their phone. Before their feet hit the ground, they've already seen 20 notifications, 5 headlines, and someone else's breakfast on Instagram. Here's the problem: that tiny act flips your brain into a reactive mode. Instead of deciding how your day begins, you've let the world decide for you. You're not responding, you're reacting. And once you're in that loop, it's hard to climb out of it. But what if, just for the first hour, you chose not to check your phone? What if you reclaimed that time for yourself, your thoughts, your purpose, your peace? This isn't about rejecting technology. It's about not letting technology dictate your first thought of the day. This is where the Stoic practice of intention becomes everything. Because how you begin your day often determines how you live your day. Here's a challenge. For the first 60 minutes after you wake up, try doing only things that center you. Not the world, you. You might sit quietly, breathe, journal, reflect on a passage from Marcus Aurelius or Seneca. Maybe you stretch, or just sip your coffee slowly, eyes still heavy, heart still quiet. These aren't small things. They're anchors. They center you before the waves hit. And this is where Stoicism shines, not as a theory, but as a lifestyle. It teaches you to protect what you can control. And your morning attention is one of the most precious, most controllable things you have. When Marcus Aurelius was emperor leader of the Roman Empire, dealing with wars, political chaos, and disease, he still began his mornings in silence. With his journal, he didn't wake up and rush into decisions. He reflected. He reminded himself who he wanted to be, how he wanted to lead, how he wanted to live. That's why his meditations have survived centuries. He was fighting for his peace in a world of constant conflict, and you can do the same. Here's how to build a Stoic-inspired morning ritual. 1. Start without your phone. Don't let external noise hijack your mind before you've even had a thought of your own. 2. Sit in silence. Even if it's just 5 minutes, let your mind catch up to your body. Let your awareness settle in. 3. Journal or reflect. Ask yourself, what do I want from this day? What do I want to bring to this day? Not in terms of to-dos, but in terms of being. 4. Read something grounding. A short passage from a Stoic text. A favorite quote. Something that reminds you what really matters. 5. Move your body. It doesn't have to be intense. A few stretches, a walk. Something to tell your body, we're awake now. We're alive. None of these steps are about adding more pressure to your morning. Quite the opposite. They're about subtracting distractions. About giving yourself a space to just be before you have to do. This practice done consistently builds something rare in today's world. Inner stability, because life will throw things at you. Delays, stress, arguments, emails. But if you've already centered yourself, those things hit differently. They don't knock you over. They just ripple across the surface. That's what Stoicism gives you. It doesn't promise a life without storms, but it helps you become the calm within the storm. So tomorrow morning, don't rush. Don't dive into the noise. Start slow. Stay centered. Protect that first hour like your life depends on it, because the quality of that hour can shape everything that follows. You don't need a perfect routine. You just need one that's intentional. One that reminds you, you are in charge of how you begin your day. And in the words of Marcus, each day provides its own gifts, but only if you're awake enough to notice them. 4. Emotional control is a superpower, and Stoics knew it. There's a quiet kind of power that doesn't come from muscles or money. It doesn't shout, doesn't beg to be seen. But when it walks into a room, everyone feels it. It's the power of emotional control. And no philosophy understood this better than Stoicism. Seneca once wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Let that sink in, because in the modern world, where outrage is currency and people chase validation like it's oxygen, emotional restraint isn't just rare, it's rebellious. We're constantly told, speak your truth. Let it out. Don't bottle things up. But here's the Stoic twist. Expressing emotion isn't the same as being ruled by it. A Stoic doesn't suppress, they channel. They understand that emotions are part of being human, but when emotions become your master, clarity dies. And that's when you lose. That's when you say things you regret, ruin relationships, blow up opportunities, overreact to criticism, or spiral for days over a single comment from someone who doesn't even matter. The Stoics didn't teach us to be numb. They taught us to be still. To pause, to wait, to respond. Not react. Think about it. How often has a bad decision come from a place of calm? Almost never. Anger, jealousy, fear, envy, these are emotional storms. And when we act in the middle of a storm, we don't steer the ship. We get tossed around, wrecked. But what if you could stand in the middle of that storm and not flinch? That's Stoicism. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them." In other words, the event isn't the problem. Your interpretation is. Your mind is the lens, and you control the lens. This is emotional alchemy. Turning chaos into clarity. Turning insult into indifference. Turning fear into focus. Let's make this real. You get criticized publicly. maybe on social media, maybe by someone at work, maybe even by someone you love. Your first instinct: defense, retaliation, justify, explain. But the Stoic in you steps in and asks, is this worth disturbing my inner peace? That question alone changes everything. Or this: you're overlooked, disrespected, someone talks over you in a meeting, or your partner snaps at you. Again, that old urge rises. Lash out, prove a point, remind them who they're messing with. But the Stoic pause comes in. Does their behavior have the power to define mine? You realize they're not in control. You are. That's when you become dangerous in the best way. Because the man who can control his emotions is the man who can control his actions. And the man who can control his actions can control his outcomes. And the man who can control his outcomes doesn't chase respect. He commands it. But how do you practice this? It starts with awareness. Next time you feel your heart rate spike, pause. That's the moment. Breathe. Don't speak yet. Don't act. Let the heat move through you without grabbing it. Emotions are like fire. You can burn yourself or you can light a torch. Your choice. Journaling helps too, not in a self-indulgent way, but as a tool to observe your inner world, to become a student of your own reactions. What triggered you? Why? What story did you tell yourself in that moment? That's how you train your mind to break the pattern. Over time you'll notice the same things that used to rattle you now barely register. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your inner calm to give it away. And that calm? That's your edge. People will try to provoke you. The world will keep testing you. But the one thing no one can ever take from you is how you choose to respond. So remember, emotional control is not suppression. It's not weakness. It's strength wrapped in stillness. It's grace under fire. It's the mark of someone who knows exactly who they are and doesn't need to prove it. The Stoics weren't cold. They were composed. And in a world that's loud, impulsive, and emotionally fragile, that composure makes you unstoppable. 5. You can't control events, but you can always control your response. The freedom no one talks about. There's a truth so powerful, it can change the course of your entire life. But most people ignore it because it removes all excuses. Here it is. You don't control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. That idea might sound simple, but it's the backbone of Stoicism. And it's the root of real freedom. Let's be honest, modern life is unpredictable. People ghost you without explanation. Plans fall apart. You lose things you love. You're disrespected for no reason. Accidents, illness, betrayal, they come when you least expect them, and your instinct: blame the other person, the system, the timing, God, fate, anything but yourself. Because if it's not your fault, it's not your responsibility, right? But here's the Stoic correction. You don't need to be at fault to take responsibility. Think of Viktor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor, a psychiatrist, and a man whose entire family was murdered. Yet even in the hell of Auschwitz, he wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Frankl didn't write that from a place of comfort. He wrote it from unimaginable pain. And still he saw, your response is your last freedom. The one thing no one, not even your worst enemy, can touch. That's Stoicism in its rawest form. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, was betrayed by friends, lost children, fought plagues and wars, and every night he journaled to remind himself of one thing: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It's not a motivational quote. It's survival. because life will throw things at you that you didn't deserve. And if you don't learn to own your response, you will stay a prisoner, forever waiting for life to be fair before you start living. But here's the Stoic superpower. You shift from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What will I do with this?" You take the power back. You don't argue with reality. You adapt. You rise. Someone insults you? That's on them. But how you carry its silent dignity or explosive anger, that's on you. You lose your job? That's hard. But whether you drown in self-pity or see it as a pivot point, that's your call. You're betrayed? That hurts. But whether you let it make you bitter or wiser, that decision is always yours. Every moment is a fork in the road. And Stoicism gives you the map. It says, you can't control outcomes, but you can control your standards. You can't control others, but you can control your principles. You can't control the storm, but you can become the anchor. This mindset doesn't make pain disappear, but it transforms your relationship with it. You're no longer the victim. You're the alchemist, turning pain into perspective. And that's the difference between breaking and becoming unbreakable. Let's get practical. Next time something bad happens, big or small, pause. Don't react. Ask, what part of this is under my control? What's the most honorable way I could respond? What would my highest self do right now? It won't always be easy. You'll want to vent, to lash out, to run. But the more you train this muscle, the more natural it becomes. And suddenly, the things that used to break you, they become the things that shape you. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more people who react impulsively. It needs more people who respond intentionally. So let the Stoics remind you, the response is your responsibility. The meaning is your choice. The next move is always yours. You can't control events, but you can always control your response. And that's not just freedom. That's power. 6. Less desire, more direction. The Stoic way to cut through the chaos. We live in an age of excess. Too many choices. Too many distractions. Too many desires pulling you in 1,000 different directions. And the result? You feel lost, overstimulated, anxious, tired but wired. And worst of all, you can't even tell what you actually want anymore. But the Stoics had a cure for this modern sickness. A 2-word principle that cuts through the noise: less desire, more direction. Because when you want everything, you chase nothing. And when you chase everything, you become no one. Let's break it down. Desire isn't just wanting something. It's attachment. It's believing, I can't be okay unless I get this. I need her to text me back or I'll spiral. I need that promotion or I'm worthless. I need more money, more validation, more followers, then I'll feel whole. The Stoics saw how dangerous this was. Desire makes you a hostage. The more you crave, the more fragile you become. The more you chase what's outside your control, the less control you have over yourself. And that's why Epictetus warned, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. He wasn't saying have no goals. He was saying desire without direction is chaos. So what's the alternative? Direction. Not craving, not hoping, but choosing. Knowing what your values are. Moving with purpose regardless of what the world throws at you. Let's say 2 people walk into the same situation. The first is driven by desire. He wants praise, approval, control. So when things go wrong or when he doesn't get what he wants, he falls apart. The second is driven by direction. He's rooted in virtue, not validation. So even if no one claps, even if it's hard, even if he's misunderstood, he keeps walking forward. That's Stoicism. And that's the difference between chasing pleasure and building peace. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire, but he wrote constantly about the dangers of craving status, praise, and pleasure. He knew how easily power can corrupt the soul. So he wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." In other words, if you don't get your mind right, no amount of external success will save you, because the real problem isn't the world, it's your attachment to the world. Let's get practical. Every time you feel frustrated, ask yourself, what am I craving right now? What am I letting control me? Am I moving with direction or just reacting from desire? And then, simplify, strip away the noise, cut the fluff. Remind yourself of your values, your mission, your discipline. Less scrolling, less comparing, less begging the world to notice you, more clarity, more virtue, more peace in knowing you already have everything you need to act with honor right now, because in a world where everyone wants more, the Stoic stands out by needing less drama, less distraction, less chasing, and in that stillness, he finds something far more powerful than desire. He finds direction. 7. Nothing lasts forever, and that's a gift. The Stoic's final lesson on presence and peace. Everything you love, everything you fear, everything you cling to so tightly, it will all disappear. That sounds like a tragedy until you realize this is where the beauty begins, because to the Stoics, impermanence wasn't something to fear. It was something to embrace, something to live by. Nothing lasts forever. And that's not a curse. It's a gift. It means your pain will pass, your doubts will fade. Your grief, your heartbreak, your loneliness, it won't last. But it also means your youth, your relationships, your breath. These too will vanish. So don't sleepwalk through your life, pretending you have endless tomorrows. You don't. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This wasn't about being morbid. It was about being awake. You see, most people live like they're immortal. They put off hard conversations. They avoid their purpose. They think they can waste this hour, this day, this year, because there will always be more time. But there won't. The Stoic doesn't just know this, he feels it deep in his bones. So he shows up fully. He listens like it's the last time. He works like it matters. He forgives like it's now or never. And when he looks at someone he loves, he remembers, I may never see them again. That awareness, it hurts, but it also makes every second sacred. Impermanence turns the ordinary into something holy. The smile of a stranger, the quiet before dawn, the final page of a book, the way the light hits her face when she doesn't notice. None of these things will last. And that's exactly why they mean something. Seneca said, let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. He wasn't telling us to rush. He was telling us to wake up. To stop pretending we have time to waste. To stop living like joy, growth, and peace are waiting somewhere down the line. They're not. They're here. Right now. But only if you're paying attention. So the next time you find yourself clinging to a relationship, a success, a version of yourself that's long gone, remember, it was never yours to keep, only to experience, only to love while it lasts. Let it come, let it go, and be grateful for the moment you had, because that's what makes it real. This is the final lesson of the Stoic path. Not control, not strength, not even resilience, but presence. To stand in the truth of this fragile life and live it anyway. To Give your all, knowing you'll lose it all, and still say, it was worth it. Final reflection. You don't conquer life by holding on. You conquer it by letting go, gracefully, gratefully, and without fear. Because when nothing lasts forever, every moment becomes eternal. Most people wake up and survive their day. But you, if you've come this far, you're not most people. You understand something deeper. Mornings aren't just routines, they're rituals. They're how warriors prepare for battle, how thinkers prepare for clarity, how leaders prepare for life. These 7 habits aren't just morning checklists. They're weapons, armor, momentum. And here's the best part. You don't need to master all 7 at once. Just start with 1. Do it for a week. Then stack the next 1. And before you know it, your mornings will look different. And so will your life. Which of the 7 habits hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear from you. And if you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a stronger morning. Remember, how you wake up is how you rise, and how you rise is how you live.